happened, this happened. Is there anything that you can wrap your arms around that says why? Is there a thread to any of that? Or was it, as you said, I can't explain it?
I can't explain it. I can't explain why crazy things happen. If I could do that, I'd be, man, I wouldn't be standing right here. I'd be somewhere else. That's for sure. Crazy things happen. I mean, it's just, that's what makes the game so much fun, and the agony of defeat and the thrill of victory. We've won games that we probably shouldn't have won. And, you know, all I can tell you is how we played, it was incredible. And the film validates it. I mean, we played a great football game. We played a lot better than we did in the Orange Bowl. We played a lot better than we did against LSU. We played a lot better than we did against Georgia. We played a lot better than some of the wins that we had in some other games last year. But we lost. And, you know, you keep moving forward. Bottom line is I got to do a better job of you know, getting that one circumstance to not happen somehow. I don't know. But, you know, I'm proud of our guys. That's all you can ask, is to put every ounce of what you have into preparation and then performance, and they did that. They're not ever going to play a perfect game. We're chasing it. We're going to always try, but I hadn't been a part of one yet. And it's unfortunate because it was I mean, if you just change one of 4 or 5 things, you know, we're having a different conversation. And so because of that, you know, I don't think we can lose sight of that as a coaching staff. Now, I know it's a bottom line business, and ultimately you'd rather win and play bad and correct mistakes from that. But I think we have to understand that, man, our guys played really well. And so let's be positive with them, and let's keep moving forward. Let's build on it.
Is that the attitude you have to take to not let it beat you twice?
No, I mean, if they'd have played bad, I wouldn't have that attitude. But they played really well, and I just think, as far as, you know, not beating you twice, I think that has got to be a culture in your program. I mean, that's in your culture, or it's not. You know, in 2010, and I talked to the team about that. I mean, y'all remember we had a similar loss at Florida State. Dominated the game. Had about 500 yards of offense and they'd kick a field goal, missed 2 kicks inside the 20, fumbled the ball on the 1 or whatever. I mean, it was just it led the whole game. And they make that 55-yarder with 2 seconds. And then the next week we go up there and we lose to BC and just played horrendous. You know, but our culture wasn't, you know, we were just getting going, and we didn't really have the culture like we do now. That's part of developing the culture that we have, is going through a tough time like we did that year. But we lost that BC game, and as the season played out, had we won that game, we would have won the division and played in the ACC championship. And so that's why, you know, you have to focus on and have the right mentality, that windshield mentality of, hey, it's what's in front of us. You know, every week we walk in here, it's a windshield mentality on this screen, and we move forward. You get a big win, you get a very difficult loss. If you don't have that mentality as a part of your culture, then you're not going to be a consistent program. And if there's one thing I can say about this team and this program, we've been as consistent as anybody in the country the last several years. So, you know, we're like the 8th winningest team in the country the last 3 or 4 years. All right, and that's because of that type of mentality that's been built in our culture. The biggest win we had last year was Maryland, because we got embarrassed on national TV against Florida State. And then we got to turn around and we got to go to Maryland. And the way our guys played, you know, it just kind of validates what I already knew. You know, they picked themselves up and they kept moving forward, and it's always about the next game. You know, if you don't have that mentality as a competitor, you'll never be consistent as a player or a program. And that's what we're all about here. You know, we want to be the best we can be. And, you know, what happened the other night, that's just, I mean, don't like it, but we'll grow from it and we'll get better. And it's all part of helping us develop the mentality and the culture that we want to have in this program. And, you know, if we don't show up Saturday, we'll get beat for sure. This is a team that is capable of beating anybody they play. And but again, we're going to prepare for North Carolina, but it's about Clemson. You know, that's that's what it's about every week for us, and taking care of the things that we can control.
What do you make of the North Carolina team that last week, I mean, understanding that ECU is a pretty good football team, but North Carolina goes in there and gives up the most points in program that they've ever given up in a single game, the most yards they've ever given up in a single game. I mean, what is this North Carolina team?
They're a lot better than that, you know, that's for sure. We've been on the other side of that a couple of times too, and they'll be eager to get out and prove that they're better than that, and they are. I mean, there's no question. Turnovers, you know, pick sixes. Let me tell you, you get a couple of those situations, it'll get out of hand in a hurry. You're on the road, the momentum, the energy and emotion, all those things. Next thing you know, you got a mess on your hands, and you learn from it, you grow from it, you move on to the next one, and that's what they'll do. This is their first conference game, so you know every goal they have is still in front of them. I mean, they're in control of their destiny. So you know we'll see a different team than what East Carolina saw, and I don't want to take anything away from East Carolina. East Carolina played an unbelievable game, but would it have been a closer game without some really critical mistakes? Absolutely. So, you know, that the score is not indicative of the type of team that North Carolina has. Just simple as that.
What's been your assessment of the running game through 3 games?
Okay. You know, again, I thought first half of the Georgia game we ran the ball great. South Carolina State, very pleased with how we performed in that game. Did what we needed to do. Played a bunch of guys. Very pleased with what we were able to do the other night for the majority of the game. We did have a few plays that we'd like to have back. Had a few calls we'd like to have back, but where we maybe give them the best chance to be successful. But I think we're improving. You know, we're not the best in the country at this point, but I think we're figuring some things out. I'm very pleased with our offensive line and how they performed the other night. Played physical. That is as stout a front as we will see. That number 90 and that number 99 are some grown men, and our guys and their ends and the depth that they had. I mean, I tell you what, they played a heck of a ball game for us. They did a great job. Really pleasing. Now, we weren't perfect, and we've got to improve technically up front. But how they played, I think we're kind of figuring out some things in our offensive line as well. I'm very excited about where we are and moving forward with our running game and the guys up front.
Coach, why play 2 quarterbacks when you feel so strongly about Deshaun's capabilities, and especially what you talked about him earlier in this press conference?
Well, same as the other. I mean, Cole deserves to play. He deserves to play, period. Cole's not going to hurt Clemson Tigers. He didn't hurt us. I mean, he missed a play, and, you know, had he made that play, or Deshaun didn't, we didn't go into the game with that as going to happen. I went in the game as Cole going to lead us to victory, and Deshaun hopefully is going to play well. But you have to, you know, that's just part of the performance and the evaluation that you go through when you don't have preseason games and things like that. You got to evaluate in real time. And Deshaun, and he went back in, and he was just in that zone, and we kind of went with him. I had no problem with Cole going back in, but we just felt like at that point that was the best decision at the time. And but Cole Stout, he can win for us. Just like it's not really what Cole's done; it's more what Deshaun has done, and that's really kind of where we are. But Cole deserves to play, and he's going to play. And when he plays, he'll play well. He'll play well.
Just like your thoughts on the bad snap. I've seen older quarterbacks try and pick it up, run with it, still make a play, kick it further down the field, fumble. Talk about Deshaun's presence there to get behind the football, fall on it. It's
he's just savvy. He's got great instincts, and again, this kid's been starting since he was 14 at a high level of football, and the mechanics of what we do, he's been doing for a long time. It comes very natural to him. But that's not the first time a ball's been snapped past that young man, I promise you. And he's been coached very well. But just just great poise. You know, he's just a very mature young man. He's had to deal with a lot in his life at an early age that I think has toughened him and matured him and focused him. Maybe a little different than some other young people. He knows exactly what he wants. Very humble, very respectful, appreciates the process, you know, and has great respect for this university and the opportunity that he has. You're going to get the best of Deshaun. But just like, you know, with Cole, I mean, he don't have a lifetime contract either. It's one thing to win the job. It's another thing to keep the job. You know, you have to perform, and especially when you have close competition, and that's what we have. We still, and it's not like Cole's down here now. That's not the way it is. You know, Cole's going to work his tail off. In fact, after practice, I kind of walked back and whispered to one of the coaches after watching Cole practice yesterday. I said, you know what? There's just nothing better than great competition. It just brings out the best in everybody. And that's what I saw on the field last night at practice. So I think it's a great situation, but that number 4 is unique. You're not going to come across many freshmen, especially at that position, that have all the tangibles and intangibles that he possesses.
It's been a lot of fair catches so far and no real returns or anything. Any thought to a different returner back there, or any switching schematic?
It don't matter who the returner is. I mean, the Georgia game, every punt was inside the 10-yard line, just about. So, you know, you can't return those. And then we this past week, the return opportunities, we had one opportunity for a return, one, and our one guy over on the right side didn't hold up his guy, and we got blown up. But we really did a good job for the rest of the time. We did a good job holding up. We got good people, but you know, it's hard to return it when you don't get the chance to. I mean, you got a great punt, hang time, and all that kind of stuff. You know, we hadn't had a lot of opportunity in 3 games at this point, especially the Georgia game. That was unbelievable. I mean, our average starting field position was the 19-yard line. So it's something that I think hopefully will improve as we settle in, you know, throughout the season here. But at this point, it's been frustrating to not get much opportunity there.
Has it been with someone in field position, and is there anything you can do independent of, you know, a high hang time or anything like that to try to improve it?
Well, I mean, you try to hold them up best you can, but basically, you know, again, you're seeing all these shield punt teams, what we call shield punt, and basically everybody's a gunner. You have to force the punt. They got 3 guys. If you don't force the punt, then they're gonna run it or fake it on you. You know, so you have to commit at least 3 guys to force the punt, and then you got guys flying down the field. And if it's a halfway decent punt, it's going to be hard to get a return. They didn't get any returns on us the other night. The one that they had was punted about this high off the ground, and we still had a guy down there. Tony got down there, but he missed the tackle. He just kind of overran it and didn't break down. You know, so that's they didn't have any either.
Is there anything that you